Hello, YouTubers and NFL fans everywhere. This is Matt, the NFL Fanatic, giving you my 2019-2020 NFL Conference Championship Weekend predictions. Well, for the Fanatic, this past week, it was a good week to bounce back. Definitely for my straight-up picks. My against-the-spread picks took a bit of a hit from the week before, though, in my defense, I had the Texans at plus 9.5, and through the first 25 minutes of the game, I actually thought I had a genuine chance to be able to cover when the Texans took a 24-0 lead with about 10 minutes left in the second quarter. And then after that, the Kansas City Chiefs, congratulations to them, by the way, for making it to their second straight AFC Championship game. First time in franchise history they've been able to do that, or say that. And it's also very interesting where I found this out. Since their inception, they had never hosted the AFC Championship game through their franchise history until the past 2 years with Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback. That was just insane to me, thinking about all the great Chiefs players and all the great teams they had. They never hosted the conference championship game, not only once, but now 2 straight years with Patrick Mahomes there. So, job well done in that regard. But after that, the Chiefs go on a 51-7 run, and in 10 minutes, take a 24-0 deficit at the half, or with 10 minutes to go in the second quarter, and turn that into a 28-24 lead going into halftime. It was just an amazing collapse that you rarely ever see ever, but this just happened within a quarter. This didn't happen throughout the game like with the New England Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons, 28-3 throughout the half. This happened within 10 minutes of the Chiefs, just finally waking up and playing football. Patrick Mahomes had a sensational game. He threw for 6 touchdowns, and and the Chiefs' offense, was just phenomenal. Travis Kelce had over 130 yards and 3 touchdowns. They had no answer for him on the defensive side, especially when Lonnie Johnson, the rookie from Kentucky, went down. And it was just an outright, absolute, tremendous offensive display by Andy Reid, Mahomes, and that Chiefs offense. And kudos to Spagnuolo as well, because after that 10-minute run from the second quarter on, they only allowed 7 points the rest of the game. So, job well done there. So that was how I got that second loss. But hey, I thought maybe a 24-point game. The Houston Texans would have been able to hold on to it, or just been able to score some. But that was my first loss. And then the second one was the Seahawks loss. I had them at plus 4. That was a brutal beat because there were a few plays there. It looked really bad at the beginning. They were down 21-3 going into the half. But then Russell Wilson and the Seahawks, as they usually do, tend to play pretty well consistently from behind. They're able to get some touchdown drives. They got a couple big third down stops, which led to more touchdown drives for the second half. And they actually won that half 20-7 in scoring. But when you're up 21-3, that 27 run, at the end of the day, just isn't enough. And, so that the 2-point conversion where Wilson gets sacked by Jair Alexander from his blind side, and Jason Myers missing a 50-yard field goal could have gotten me that could have given me that against the spread win. But, trusting Jason Myers to kick in Lambeau and Russell Wilson making that mistake, which rarely happens, hey, job well done for the Packers there. And anybody that had the Packers, minus 4, I know it went up to 4.5. So job well done there in getting that one. So last week I said against the spread I was 2-2, but straight up this week I went 3-1. The only game I got wrong was the upset of the postseason so far, where the 6-seeded Tennessee Titans beat the number 1 seeded Baltimore Ravens. And as a Ravens fan, this hurt a lot. I watched that game, and I was stunned about how well the Titans defense was able to play. They took away Lamar Jackson in the hashes. They told him if Hollywood Brown, Willie Snead, Miles Boykin, any of our Chris Moore, if you let the outside receivers beat us, they'll accept that. And the Titans defense did a fantastic job. Also, the Baltimore Ravens were 8 for 8 going into the game on 4th downs, on 4th and 1s. And for the first time all year, we could not get only 1 4th down, but we couldn't even get 2 4th downs, which were 2 big turnovers right there. when we didn't get the first fourth down, Ryan Tannehill with a beautiful 43-yard touchdown to Khalil Raymond, a receiver that outside of the Titans, and even if you're Titans fans, you probably had never heard of. He was an undrafted receiver from Holy Cross. He beat Marlon Humphrey and Brandon Carr off the line, and that was a massive touchdown. And then also, the other drive before that, Ryan Tannehill threw a great catch by third-string tight end named Gioknows Smith, the third-string tight end for the Titans, and those are two of his 7 completions. And he also had a rushing touchdown. So amazingly, Ryan Tannehill had more rushing touchdowns in the game than Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry threw for a touchdown to wide receiver Corey Davis. That basically ended the game, and it was just the Ravens look flat. Earl Thomas looks like a big clown right now because of 2 things. A, he said that the Ravens, he felt, were going to the Super Bowl. So next time, Mr. Thomas, as great as you were, and kudos to your Pro Bowl bid and your All-Pro bid and whatever, I'm happy we got you over Eric Weddle. And quick side note, hopefully Eric Weddle gets better from his meniscus repair. But Mr. Thomas, Earl Thomas, if I'd like to tell you, please shut up next year. Do not tell the media that the Baltimore Ravens are going to the Super Bowl. Don't say that. Shut up, please. Don't say that. Because now you look like a big clown, just giving all that bravado, and the entire team, from Jackson, Harbaugh, all the way down, fell flat on their face against a Titans team that was more prepared, better coached, and just executed at a much higher level than we did last Saturday. So, Earl Thomas, don't make any Super Bowl predictions next year. Please don't. As great as we are. As great as we were. When you look at the Titans, job well done by Mr. Derrick Henry. I remember I said last week for the Ravens on this video that was the one thing the Ravens could not do, is that Derrick Henry be able to run like he did against the Patriots. And not only did he run like he did against the Patriots, he actually outdid himself against the Ravens compared to the Patriots. He had 195 plus yards. He's the first running back in NFL history to have 3 straight games of 180 plus rushing yards. And for a single postseason, he has the all-time average yards per game, I think, at about 188, which is about 30 yards better than the next closest guy, Terrell Davis. And Ryan Tannehill, it's an amazing thing. Ryan Tannehill has gone 15 to 29 for under 165 yards in the 2 postseason games. That, to me, is just amazing. Looking at the fact that the NFL has become such a passing league that the Tennessee Titans are saying, we're reverting it back. We're going to play with running offensive line and a managing quarterback that just has to do enough with his arm to make big explosive plays, and then we'll just drain the clock out with our bullhouse running back, Derrick Henry. So, kudos to Mike Vrabel, and I know for a lot of Ravens fans that watch this, they're going to be surprised, or they may say this is dumb, but I don't care. This is just I genuinely believe this. Ryan Tannehill outplayed Lamar Jackson. Okay? Everybody that, wants to give Lamar a lot of credit and go, oh, he had over 500 yards of total offense. He was our lead running back, and he made all these great throws and all that. Understand this. 240 plus of those yards were made when we were down 28-6. Everybody out there watching, all the Ravens fans, all that, to me, that is pure garbage time, empty calorie numbers. So, to me, genuinely, he had 260 total yards of meaningful offense. Okay, so all that 500 crap, that is an explosion of a stat. That is an inflated stat that, even though it is a genuine number, in the grand scheme of things, as you watch the game, it's not as effective and not as great as it was. And I will say this for all Ravens fans, I think, it was a tremendous year. We broke every, record offensively we've ever had. Franchise record for Lamar for touchdowns. And it was a great year. And we definitely saw the Lamar Jackson, can play the position. He can play the position. He can play it effectively. He can play it consistently. and he is one of the most dynamic players in the entire National Football League. But we are in a position right now for every other fan base outside of Baltimore that I hate being in as a fan. Because today is January 13th, 2020. The next time anybody, or for me, the next time I will genuinely care about what the Ravens are going to do next year will probably be around January 10th to 13th of 2021, if not earlier if we're in the wild card round. We are in one of the worst positions I hate being as a fan, because for the entire regular season next year, and this is coming from me as a Ravens fan, and anybody, I do not care what Lamar Jackson does. He can throw for 4,000 yards. He can rush for over 1,200 yards again. He can, do all the running. He can win a second straight MVP. Every other fan base across the NFL world will tell every Ravens fan, we do not care how great this team is, from Peters and Humphrey and Judon and all, Jihad Ward and Snead and Mark Ingram, Big Trust, woo-woo, whatever. Nobody will care. Nobody will even bat an eyelash. They will tell every Ravens fan, talk to us on January in the first and second postseason games when it actually matters for the Ravens once again. That's my opinion about it. Because, everybody's saying Lamar, he was a horrible choice to be our quarterback. He was a bust, like the Bill Polians, or if you have the Bill Polian or School of Thought. They're all excited. I don't think it's that bad, because I still think Lamar Jackson has proved a lot this year, and he's going to win the MVP, though it will be kind of a hollow MVP, because he will only be the 5th quarterback in NFL history, I believe, to win the MVP award without getting a playoff win either before or the year of the year he won the MVP. Those other 5 guys are Y.A. Tittle, Burt Jones, Burt Jones, Brian Sipe, and he was a Rams quarterback in 1969. But he'll be the only 5th quarterback, I believe, in NFL history to win an MVP award with no playoff victories. That's how rare of a feat that Lamar accomplished. It's a tremendous accomplishment for himself personally. But it's just kind of like a hollow feeling. And you know what? I kind of agree. The greatest thing I appreciated was Marlon Humphrey saying that the Ravens right now, under Lamar Jackson, just seem like first, playoff chokers. And I think that's a fair assessment up to this point. Is that, do I think Lamar Jackson, has he proved a lot? Is he our quarterback moving forward? Can you feel happy about it? Sure. But are there genuine questions about his postseason play moving forward? Absolutely. And now we're at a point for every Ravens fan out there, as much as you want to admit it or not, we are at a point where the regular season next year will not matter one single bit in terms of perception. Because every fan's going to tell you, even if they're from the Bengals to the Niners, Chiefs, or whoever wins Super Bowl, every one of those fans will tell you, we will talk to you in January if you can win a playoff game. That's it. So there's my little diatribe about that. And one more quick thing about John Harbaugh. I know Ravens fans, they may not want to hear this, but if John Harbaugh loses in the postseason again, as much as we gave him that 4-year contract, and look, we only have to pay him 2 years. If the Ravens go one and done for a 3rd straight year, we'll have to consider possibly firing John Harbaugh. Because I want everybody to realize this. Okay? Since 2015, the first time John Harbaugh missed the second time in his career that he missed the playoffs, John Harbaugh has been able to keep his job, justifiably so, by incrementally going up the ladder from his mulligan. 2015, we went 4-5-11, injury-riddled year. Mulligan year for him. 2016, we got to 500, had a chance maybe to make the playoffs. Couldn't do it at the end, but we missed there. The next year, we get to 9-7. Have the game against Andy Dalton, week 17, to make the playoffs. And he throws that touchdown pass to Tyler Boyd, set it to Titanic music, we're done there. That's 2017. 2018, we make the playoffs with Lamar Jackson's feet, and we go one and done against the Chargers in the wild card round, but we made the playoffs. He moved incrementally forward there. This year, we have the best record in franchise history. We get to the divisional round, but we lose again. If we do not win a playoff game next year, regardless if we're one of the top 2 seeds or the wild card round, we may have to consider, or I would consider, firing John Harbaugh, because at that point, he will become the AFC version of Sean Payton right now with the Saints. Because from 2017 to 2019, the Saints have a grand total of 1 playoff win in 3 years, with a lot of heartbreaking disappointment and frustration with the talent that was there. If John Harbaugh does this again next year, he has basically become the AFC version of Sean Payton, and that deserves more scrutiny than pass, in my opinion. Yeah, so there was that, and then a couple of the other nuggets from the other couple games. Kudos to the 49ers. Job well done there. They won 27-10. They had over 150 plus rushing yards on the ground. They held the Niners on 45 plays to 101 yards. If you take out the Kirk Cousins, Stephon Diggs 41-yard touchdown pass, that equals 2.24 yards per play. Robert Saleh did an amazing job. And by the way, Kevin Stefanski, who is the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns, what did the Browns see in Stefanski in his final game? I know he did a phenomenal job with Dalvin Cook having a career year. But if you're really looking at who was the better coaching candidate, Saleh won that hands down. The Vikings had 7 first downs the entire game. That's the third fewest in an entire game in NFL postseason history. And the Browns thought, well, we like the guy that had the offense that only could put up 7 first downs. But actually, if you read more about the Browns hiring Stefanski, there's more deeper to the service there for Haslam and them, which is kind of a weird decision there. But kudos to the Niners. Jimmy Garoppolo had probably the worst winning game of all 4 quarterbacks that won yesterday. He only threw for like 118 yards, and he had a touchdown and a pick, and the touchdown was to Sanders on a quick slant, or it was Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne on a quick slant. But I really feel like the Niners, they have a complete team that's fully healthy, and for the first time since Week 8, they had all their defensive starters out there, and you saw the reason why the first 8 weeks of the season they were the number 2 defense in the National Football League with all their horses out there. And job well done by Richard Sherman, getting that big pick on Adam Thielen. That's his 3rd pick of his postseason career. Though I do wish he could, just shut his mouth and, stop being frustrated with all the doubters and, how great he was. Because I felt like he took that moment to, like, in my opinion, shift focus away from the 49ers to brag about himself. And he has every right to be ecstatic about how he's played. He's pretty much played up back to a Pro Bowl level, which I don't think anybody expected after he left the Seahawks in 2017 with that torn Achilles. But I just wanted Sherman to be quiet about that because I hate that he keeps talking in this frustration because it kind of feels like Dabo Swinney, what he did at Clemson, even though I guess Dabo a little bit more. But, hey, Sherman, hey, if you can continue, if your team gets to win the Super Bowl, you have every right to talk, and it'll be me that has to be quiet. And then for the Packers and the Seahawks, that game was just the key stat was 3rd down. The Seahawks were 3 of 9 from 3rd down. The Packers were 9 of 16. And that was the difference. Devontae Adams had a Packers postseason record, 160 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. Rodgers played an effective game. He played a solid game. He played better than Russell Wilson. He didn't get sacked as often. Wilson got sacked 5 times. Aaron Rodgers got sacked twice. But, for the Seahawks, though, it was just kind of like the same thing. They get down to a massive lead. Russell Wilson just, continues to run around and scramble and make big plays out of nothing. And he got his team within 5 points, arguably 2, if Jason Myers makes a 50-yard field goal, which could have won me against the Red Pick again. But, hey, you know what? For the Packers, job well done. It's their 4th NFC Championship game for Aaron Rodgers. All of them been on the road, by the way. And for Aaron Rodgers, though, it was his first win against an NFC West opponent in his last 5 attempts. Or actually, I think in his career, he's lost 5. He was 0-5 entering the game against AFC or NFC West opponents. He's going to try to get 2 straight wins over the Niners. But also, I think what they said was Aaron Rodgers only has 1 win in his career when he's played a team a second time in the postseason, through his postseason career. So, those are my quick thoughts on all the other games. And now it's time for my picks. So, last week against the spread, I won 500, 2-2. Straight up, I won 3-1, which equals 50 and 75% respectively. For the postseason now, my overall record against the spread is 4-3-1, which equals 56.3% against the spread. And straight up, I'm now 500 even at 4-4. And my overall record for the entire year, regular and postseason, against the spread now is 146, 113, and 5 pushes, which equals 56.3%. And straight up now, I am 171, 92, and 1, which equals 65% even for the season. So, definitely my best year all around against the spread and straight up, getting 56% right on the line and 65% straight up. It's right around my yearly average, so I'm very happy with that. And I'm hoping that with the final 3 games, I get to go 3-0 or 6-0 both ways and get to be happy about it. All right, so this Sunday, January 19th, the final week of games before Super Bowl 54, when the 6th-seeded Tennessee Titans go to the number 2-seeded Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs are 7.5-point favorites in this game. I like Kansas City here to win straight up, but I will take Tennessee plus 7.5. And in the NFC Championship game, when the number 2-seeded Green Bay Packers go to the number 1-seeded San Francisco 49ers, the San Francisco 49ers are 7-point favorites in this game. I like San Francisco here -7 and San Francisco straight up. All right, so time for my thoughts on each game. The Kansas City Chiefs over the Tennessee Titans. I am going to take the Chiefs here because of the biggest difference that you saw from the Ravens and the Chiefs. Why the Chiefs, you should feel confident in this game. When all three of Lamar Jackson's losses this year and the Ravens' losses were because they fell behind at least 14 points or higher in those 3 games. And they never could come back. What you saw out of the Kansas City Chiefs is the biggest reason why you have to go with them. Because the Titans, in my opinion, they can beat the Chiefs. In fact, the Andy Reid-led Chiefs have lost 4 straight games to the Tennessee Titans. One was to Jake Locker. 2 of them were to Mariota. I remember one was off a field goal, I think back in 2016. And then they lost to Tannehill just earlier this year, where Mahomes had over 400 yards. It was his first game back after the knee injury, after the dislocated knee. So the Titans have the number of the Chiefs, or the Andy Reid Chiefs, like I said, because they've won 4 straight. This Titans team has an identity and a formula that is incredibly simple. They are going to want to run the ball at the Chiefs' defensive line. And I think the Titans' offensive line has enough push to be able to move the ball enough against the Chiefs' defensive line. Especially if Chris Jones can't go. That was a big loss that they had this past week, and through that first 25 minutes of the game, they surely missed Chris Jones. But hopefully they should get him back. But there's just something a part of me going where I feel like I don't think the Chiefs are going to allow the Titans to get to that big of a deficit or to that big of a lead. Because if Mike Vrabel was coaching the Texans, I don't think they blow that 24. I think that the Chiefs might have won, but that game would have been much more competitive by the end of the game, where the Chiefs might have pulled off at the end by just 7 points, not be up by 10 points, not give up the lead within 10 minutes of the quarter. But the Titans are going to want to play like the Raven, like they did against the Ravens. They're going to want to somehow find a way to get 7 to get at least a double-digit point lead, maybe 14 or higher, and then just want to run the ball at the Chiefs' defensive line consistently. The problem with that is, again, I feel like with the Chiefs' offense, as dynamic as it is, with Kelsey, Byron Pringle, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Demarcus Robinson, Mecole Hardman, Blake Bell, Mahomes, that offense can move the ball on the Titans' defense. It can. Definitely they are more equipped through the air to attack the Titans secondary compared to the Ravens, because they have the best tight end in football, and I know we probably have the best depth, but they have the best tight end in football, and you would take Hardman, Hill, Watkins on the outside over our three main guys on the outside, and there's just a feeling with Mahomes that he can do it more with his arms. He does it more of his arm than his legs, where if you looked at Lamar on Saturday, it seemed like he wanted to do more of his legs than his arm. And to me, I think that's why I'm taking the Chiefs to win this game. The Titans, look, they have a formula, and also for the Chiefs, they have to do this. Ryan Tannehill has thrown 29 passes this postseason. He's 2-0. Job well done, by the way, for getting to 2-0. But, yeah, Ryan Tannehill has thrown 29 passes this postseason. The way you beat the Titans in this spot, you have to have Ryan Tannehill throw the football more than 29 times for 160 yards, 3 TDs, and a pick. If you get Ryan Tannehill, if you force the Titans to have to throw the football by getting down the same way the Titans did to us, if the Chiefs can get them into a 14 to 17 point hole, I think that is a victory for the Titans, because they cannot have Derrick Henry, who, again, can have tremendous, fantastic, explosive runs. But if you tell the Chiefs, hey, Derrick Henry's going to run the ball down the field and chew the clock with that lead, they will take that because they know they can move the ball with their offense effectively. There's going to have to be some turnovers. Kevin Byard's going to, do I think the Titans defense has, some better playmakers and more confidence? Yeah, they do. They have Byard at safety, which I think will be great against Kelsey. They have Tremaine Brock. They have Kenny Vaccaro, who's done an effective job. They have better secondary guys than the Texans to try to attack the Chiefs' offense. But remember, the last time they played him, Derrick Henry basically did what he's done the last few weeks in the postseason. The difference was that the Chiefs' defense was much worse and was more banged up and not as effective as it's been over the last 6 or 7 weeks. Do I think the Titans have a chance to win this game? Yeah, because I feel like with the Titans, they know who they are. And Andy Reid in this spot, if the Titans can get a turnover or two and run the ball and make these Chiefs defenders look as worn out as the Ravens defenders and the Pats defenders look, they have a chance. Because, Tannehill, can surprise people. The Chiefs secondary at times has not looked as great. They gave us some big touchdown passes to Kenny Stills. DeAndre Hopkins had over 100 yards. And the Titans have guys that, they can get them by surprise, just like they did with the Ravens. But the biggest reason why I'm taking the Chiefs is because I know that they can come from behind. And I don't think with the Titans, they're going to have that opportunity to get into a 14-0 advantage to where they can run the ball and just wear out the Chiefs' defensive line. I could be wrong, but I don't think that's going to happen. And I just think the Chiefs' offense, they're going to put too much pressure on the Titans' defense with the weapons they have for the Titans to win this game. I think they're going to put too much pressure on them so the Titans cannot win this game offensively. And like I said, I know they can come back from behind, and I just think they're going to make Ryan Tannehill throw the football in this spot, and I do not think Ryan Tannehill, as great as he's been for the Titans during this whole 12-game run, I don't think he's going to be able to pull it off in his 13th game starting. I don't think he is. Could he do it? Maybe. It's Andy Reid. It's the postseason. You saw right at the beginning of the game, Reid looked panicky, but Tyreek Hill back to kick return. The entire team looked flummoxed besides Patrick Mahomes. But I think with the Chiefs, look, they know what kind of momentum they have. They know what talent they have. And they have to have this feeling of, or especially for Andy Reid, look, I'm tired of losing to this Tennessee Titans team in just the most disheartening, weirdest ways, most favorite as possible. And it's time for them to show that, look, we've been one of the, we're the most dynamic offense left in this game. We have the best quarterback left. Let's show the Titans that as much as they want to run, we are the future of the NFL. We are what the NFL is supposed to look like moving forward. And we'll show those exotic smash mouth running Nashville-based Tennessee Titans, to to get more modernized than to go more old school than the Titans. Should be a great game. I'm excited because I do want to see, can Andy Reid finally overcome his postseason demons and get to his second Super Bowl since 2004 and become one of the first coaches, or the first coach ever to win conference championships in both the AFC and the NFC. I'm rooting for Andy, and I think he'll get it done, but I do think the Titans, they have a sneaky shot because this is what the Titans do. This is what the Titans done the last several years. Every time they play a bad opponent, they seem to play to their competition. Every time they play a great opponent, they always somehow seem to play with their competition, if not better, to win the game. So that's why I like the Kansas City Chiefs here to win straight up, but I'll take the Tennessee Titans plus 7.5. And then the last game, the NFC Championship game, the San Francisco 49ers over the Green Bay Packers. I'm sorry, Packer fans. And this is not me being a Seattle supporter or anything. I just think from what I saw yesterday and from what I've seen out of the Niners, I give the Green Bay Packers no shot. Let me say it again. A 0% chance to beat the San Francisco 49ers. None. Okay, the only advantage, you can say, okay, maybe, I'm kind of undervaluing the quarterback. The only advantage you have is Aaron Rodgers against Jimmy Garoppolo. You can say, look, that's the quarterback aspect, but everything else across the board, you have to give to the San Francisco 49ers. Who has a better running game? The 49ers. Who has a better offensive line? The San Francisco 49ers. Who has more receiver depth? The San Francisco 49ers. Who has the better tight end? The 49ers. Who has the better pass rush? The 49ers. Who has the better secondary? The 49ers. The only thing you could argue you have made better is your punter and your kicker. Because I'll take Crosby over Gold. Not by much, because Crosby Gold's an effective kicker. And I'll take J.K. Scott over Mitch Wisniewski at punter. But everything else in the main position, the Niners have the edge basically at every other spot across the board besides the quarterback. Okay? And here's the great thing I like also that I know. Davante Adams, like I said before, had 160 yards. A Packers postseason record. He had 90, I believe he had 98 more receiving yards than the next closest target. Let me say again, 98 yards. He had 98 yards more than every other wide receiver or tight end the Packers had yesterday. 98 more yards. Let me just look it up here. Yep, it was 160 to 69, 77, 82, 84. I'm sorry, 96. Yeah. 60 minus 49. Yeah, he had 96 more yards than every other Green Bay Packers wide receiver yesterday. For the Niners, they have a better secondary. And they have Richard Sherman, who, over the last decade, the two best postseason corners that have played are Darrelle Revis and Richard Sherman. Sherman's had, I think I said, he's had 3 picks in the postseason, like I said before, and his passer rating against the number 1 receiver has been under 60 in 13 postseason games. I think Davante Adams can have a few opportunities against Sherman. Can, but there's no way that he's going to get 160 yards and 2 touchdowns against Richard Sherman or that secondary. There's no way that's going to happen. And that's going to eliminate the Packers passing game. And here's the one thing I will give Seattle credit for. They did hold Aaron Jones, effectively through the ground. Ladies and gentlemen, as maybe shocking as this is, but if you look at the box score decision, Russell Wilson ran for the most yards yesterday. The Seattle Seahawks quarterback was better than Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones had 62 yards on 21 carries. He averaged 3 yards a carry. He had 2 touchdowns. A job well done for him. I think if he gets a touchdown, he will break Ahman Green's all-time scrimmage record for touchdowns in Packers franchise history, the regular postseason. Job well done. But Russell Wilson outran Aaron Jones. So, and Dalvin Cook was coming off a game where he had 18 yards. When the Packers played the Niners back in week 12, he only had, I believe they said, 38 rushing yards. So, this Packers team, to me, I know, look, they can be motivated, and I get that, LaFleur, he knows Shanahan, and look, they'll have this whole motivation factor, and Jimmy Garoppolo did not look great, and maybe they'll try to get some turnovers with Jimmy Garoppolo, which will be the difference, which I agree with. But I just don't think the Niners defense, they're not going to let up against this Packers offensive line. You had Bakhtiari, who's one of the better left tackles in the game, but I feel like for their guards, or I forget the other guard, I feel like for those guards, they're going to have a terrible time going up against Armstead and DeForest Buckner, Sheldon Day. You have Bosa coming on the edge. You have Dee Ford, who's back. And you have Quan Alexander, Fred Warner. This Niners front will get through the Packers offensive line at a good rate. And I do not think they'll be able to move the ball effectively enough. And I think with the Seahawks, you saw with Russell Wilson, you can make throws on this Packers secondary. And they have the talents in Debo, Emmanuel, Bourne, and Kittle, especially with George Kittle, who killed them the last time, I think of over 130 yards and a touchdown, that I just think the Niners will have enough offensively to be able to move the ball against the Packers defensive line, because the Niners offensive line will hold up. And I just don't think the Packers, they'll be able to move the ball with the limited amount of talent they have. Because I don't think Aaron Jones is going to have that great of a game. And if they can't run the ball, Adams won't be able to throw to it. So you're going to have to trust Geronimo Allison, Allen Razor, who left the game with an ankle injury, Marquise Valdez-Scantling, Jake Kumaro, and Jimmy Graham, who, by the way, had the biggest catch of his Packers career on that last 3rd and 9 to seal the game for the Seahawks, or seal the game for the Packers. Job well done there. But yeah, in this game, I just feel like, again, if you get a couple of turnovers on Jimmy Garoppolo, which is possible, maybe you can continue or hold the momentum and force Jimmy to play from behind in a way that he's not used to. But I feel like with the Niners, the problem is I think that they have a better defensive front, and they have kind of like this mentality with Kyle Shanahan, where like every time you watch a Kyle Shanahan game, you know his receivers are getting open consistently and they're moving the ball in good ways, and it's off a scheme. They're wide open. It's slants. It's misdirection. They have Juszczyk, who I think will be an important X factor for the Niners in terms of his playmaking ability as a blocker, a runner, and a pass catcher. And I just feel like, again, the Niners, this was the perfect matchup for the Packers. The Niners and Seahawks this season has basically come down to the final play of the game each time. Do I think the Packers will look as bad as they did back in Week 12 when they lost by 27 points? Or by 29 points? No. But do I think that do I think the Packers will upset the Niners, or do I think the Packers will even have a chance to beat the 49ers? Not at all. I do not think the Green Bay Packers have any chance to win this game, because I know what the Niners have. They'll limit Aaron Jones, and they'll put Sherman on Devontae Adams, and they'll be grateful all day to try to have Jake Kumaro, Geronimo Allison, and Allen Razor try to beat our secondary with that pass rush coming out. Especially with Bulaga being, dealing with the flu and dealing with an injury. Hopefully he gets better, but if he can't go, it's going to be a long day for the Packers back in San Francisco. It's going to be a really bad sequel that looks just as bad as the original for this NFC Championship game. So, that's why I like the San Francisco 49ers -7 and the San Francisco 49ers straight up. So, for everybody out there, my Super Bowl 54 prediction for the game, for the matchup itself, not the winner. The matchup itself, I believe it will be the number 2 seeded Kansas City Chiefs facing the number 1 seeded San Francisco 49ers in the Joe Montana Steve Young rematch that means everything. So I'm going to have the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the San Francisco 49ers Super Bowl 54. It was not nearly close to my original prediction for the year before the year started, where I had the Patriots taking on the Eagles. But that is my Super Bowl prediction. So I have the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the San Francisco 49ers at Hard Rock Stadium in 2 weeks on Sunday, February 2nd, or in 3 weeks on Sunday, February 2nd, in the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida, home of the Dolphins. And that's all like the 49ers -7 straight up. And those are my conference championship picks. So, like, comment, rate, subscribe. Good luck to all 4 teams, Titans, Chiefs, Niners, Packers. Good luck to all their team. Good luck to all teams out there. Good luck to all the players. Good luck to all the coaches. For the fan bases, wish all of you luck. Enjoy yourselves. Should be an interesting day. It's one of the biggest days of the year. Kudos to the Titans for getting to this spot. From a Ravens fan, job well done. And that's it. So until next week, when I give my Super Bowl 54 preview and prediction, this is Matt the Fanatic signing off until next time. Till then, so long.